Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany, and I am so happy to have you joining me today. In today's video, we're going to be decorating the outside of our home for Halloween. Now, I know this isn't everybody's cup of tea, but we are big Halloween fans here at my house. We're actually hosting our first annual Halloween party in our house. We used to throw Halloween parties all the time in our house back in Las Vegas, so we are so very excited. And today we're going to be decking the halls for Halloween. So if you're here for it, let's go ahead and get started. I'm starting off with these giant spiders that I picked up on Amazon. They were really affordable. I think they were about $13 each. I'll have them linked for you down below. I did end up picking up 3 of these, and my intention was to have them crawling up my home. So I enlisted my husband to be brave and climb up on very tall ladders and maybe even out a window or two to get these on the house, and we are both so thankful we did because it turned out really, really cool. So we're going to get started with those. We're using these command hooks, which are actually made for lights, which are perfect. We wanted to try them out, see how they did. We're wiping down our vinyl siding with a little bit of alcohol to make sure that the command strips would stick, and these worked out really, really well. So while I am doing this decorating today, I wanted to take some time to talk to you a little bit about our fun ghost stories. So I had mentioned this in a previous video, and if this is not your jam, if you are not down for some ghost story time, I totally understand. You can completely skip this video or watch it on mute. But I promised a large amount of you that I would share this, so I definitely want to hold up my end of the bargain. So if you've been around for a while and have followed since my planner channel over at Cardboard Couture, you might have heard some of this already, but we have had 2 little ghost friends that have been a part of our family for literally almost as long as Danny and I have been together. When our daughter was just shy of a year old, we had gone to a local consignment store in Las Vegas to do a little bit of Christmas shopping because I fully believe in recycling toys. And we had purchased a standing baby toy that you stand at and play, and brought it home, cleaned it up with some bleach, did all of that, and gave it to her for Christmas, and she absolutely loved it. It was one of her favorite toys, and it was something that we kept downstairs in our living room, and it had this little plastic book in the middle of the table that had one plastic page that you could turn side to side. If you turned it one direction, then the table, every button made a different sound, and if you turned it the other way, every button on the table said a word or a letter or a shape. And the only way to make the table make a certain sound was to turn the page of that little plastic book. And it all started by that toy making the noise on its own. I was upstairs folding laundry. My husband was upstairs with me giving our daughter a bath. I heard it make the noise. I was completely shocked. Brought it up to him thinking maybe it's propped up downstairs. Maybe the dog knocked it over. There's got to be a reason why it's making that noise. So we rushed downstairs to find that the table was not in any way tampered with that you could tell. And Danny was really brave and asked it to make the noise again, and it did. Now, I know this sounds crazy, you guys. I know it does, but I promise you this is what happened. We were completely spooked. We put the table out to the curb for the trash to pick it up. However, the trash man did not pick it up. Of course not, right? And so it ended up back in our garage, and we were moving into Danny's parents' house while our first house was being built, because we have actually stayed with them twice while having our homes built. So we moved in with them for about 6 months while our first house was being built, and shockingly, that toy ended up following us to their house. So it kind of lived in their garage for a little while we stayed there. And then we moved into our new build. It followed us there, just kind of got moved from one place to another, and it was in the garage. It never left. And we moved into our new house. Everything was okay. Nothing was really weird until our second child was born, my oldest son. And his room was in the corner of the house in the front, and it had windows on 2 walls, and it would make a lot of noise on windy days. And we were living in Las Vegas, which is a valley, and it's very windy. So there are lots of nights where it was super duper windy and he would not sleep, and Danny would go in and lay on the floor to keep him company. And one night he had fallen asleep on the floor in Aiden's room, and underneath that floor, it was our garage. And he woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of laughing, and he distinctly remembers 2 very distinct voices that were laughing, and it sounded like playing in the garage. So he shot up and ran downstairs because he thought for sure there was somebody playing in the garage downstairs, and he needed to get in there before anything was stolen. Maybe he left the garage door open. And I'm sure you have already figured out by the time he got down there, there was nobody in there. It was closed. It was silent. Nothing was happening, but he definitely heard the sound of laughter and playing. And from that point on, it was basically like the light switch had been turned on. We would hear all kinds of walking upstairs. We would hear what sounded like, somebody walking up the stairs in the middle of the night. We would sleep with our door open and the kiddos' door would be closed, and it would sound like there was giggling in the loft, which was like our open playroom in between our bedroom and the kiddos' bedroom across the hall. And it sounded like there were people playing in there. The way that our stairs were situated in our Las Vegas house, you could kind of see the banister from the corner of your eye. And there were so many times where it looked like somebody was sitting on the stairs. It was just very obvious that there were 2 other little friends playing at our house all the time. One night, our fire alarm had gone off. Our dog had started barking before the fire alarm had gone off. We had a German Shepherd, and she was sitting at the door, in the doorway, barking into the playroom, and all of a sudden the fire alarm went off. And of course there was no fire, but something, had triggered that. By the time Danny got up and ran into the playroom, I was, getting up out of the bed, the fire alarm had stopped. Now granted, that could have been, some crazy glitch, don't get me wrong. However, it was just a little bit weird. And then as, Michaela got older and she started to talk, she would tell us about her 2 invisible friends that she would play with. And there's a lot of debate over what those friends' names were. One she named Wallet, and the other one we're trying to remember what the name is. We can't remember, but it wasn't until years later, in fact, maybe just a few years ago, that we realized that she had 2 imaginary friends, and we were 100% sure that there were 2 ghost friends living with us. Really quickly, before I continue with my story, these little spiders that I got here, they're not really little, but these spiders here are from Walmart. I just recently picked those up. And I had also picked up that spider web that you saw us put up on the house. That was from Amazon, and I'll link it for you down below. So back to my story. We also started to hear, we had a giraffe. I don't know if any of you ever had or purchased for someone the little, I think it's a play, it was like a plush giraffe that was soft, and it played music, and it also made like a heartbeat sound, and you could put it in the crib. And we had one of those when my middle son Ronan was born, and eventually we stopped using it. He got tired of it, but we did keep it, and we had it in the loft. It was just a toy. We had taken all the batteries out, but on two very specific occasions, we had woken up to that toy singing a song in our playroom. And it just kept going from there. Eventually, we started kind of just talking back to them and asking them to be quiet at night, that we were trying to sleep. And it got to a point where we even heard some whispering at the door, whispering for daddy. It would say, daddy. And we would wake up every single time and, thinking that there was a child in the doorway, and there wasn't. I'm sorry if it gave anybody chills, that part. I just gave myself chills just remembering that. It was so vivid and absolutely just mind-blowing and terrifying. The crazy part, though, is that we never really felt scared of these friends. They always, it was very obvious that they were children, and they always felt friendly and not like they were there for anything, malicious. They never did anything crazy. They never bothered our children. They definitely just felt like part of the family at that point. Now, fast forward 11 years, we lived in our Las Vegas house for 11 years, and it was time to start packing up and preparing to leave to move to the East Coast. And we started getting some pretty serious activity in the house again. We had some doors slam. It was pretty obvious that, our little friends were upset that we were leaving. And to be honest with you, they had not done a whole lot of activity for a long time. Really quickly, these little spiders that I'm adding here, these are from Walmart, and they had little sticky things that I had attached, and I'm just putting them across the door here. So back to our moving. So I think it was maybe a day or two before we were officially leaving, and my son Aiden and I were working in the playroom to take the TV mount off the wall. We were working on that one, and then the TV mount that was in our master bedroom. And we were using both a regular screwdriver and a drill, and he had gone to work in the master bedroom, and it sounded like he was struggling with the drill. And so I told him, just put the drill down. Don't do the drill anymore. Just use, a regular hand screwdriver. And so we went back to work, and all of a sudden I hear that drill again. And I was like, Aiden, don't use the drill. You're going to strip the screw. And he was like, I'm not using it. It's right beside you. And I looked down on the floor. There it was on the floor. So clearly he was not using it. And that night we were sitting downstairs at the dining room table eating dinner, kind of just talking about all the crazy activity that had been going on. And we were like, just kind of discussing what was going to happen. And all of a sudden we heard a door slam, and we all just looked at each other and were like, listen, you are welcome to come with us. If you want to come to the East Coast, travel across the country, you're welcome to come. And that was kind of the end of that conversation, the end of that. We ended up leaving the next day or the day after to head on our week-long journey across the country. And, everything was, okay while we were traveling and staying in hotels. Now, 99% of the things that we owned were in a storage, one of those portable storage units that was just living in the front yard at my in-laws while we had our home built, and we stayed at their house. And we figured, if anything had followed us, it definitely was, living in the pod and not gonna, we weren't gonna have any activity while we were living at my in-laws, we thought for sure. And we were wrong. We were definitely wrong. We would talk about it all the time with my in-laws because they were very familiar with our little friends. And one night, after talking about them, Danny and I were sleeping, and we heard a really loud thud from out in the hallway. And we opened up the door, and my father-in-law was standing out there, and we opened up the pantry door where we heard the noise, and a box of cereal, like one of the plastic containers that had cereal in it, had fallen off of the shelf. However, there was no way for it to just fall off the shelf. It would have had to have been pulled to the front of the shelf and then fallen over. It just wouldn't just fall over. Another night, we heard a door downstairs slam and nobody was home. Another night, we heard the vacuum turn on. There were a couple of times where the lights had been turned on in the garage all by themselves. So they definitely let us know that they had come with us. And then we wondered when we moved into our house if they would follow us here. And at first, when we first moved in, there was no activity. However, we had kind of discussed it one night. I think I actually was telling my cousin Susan about all their activity. And then, of course, just how it always happens, whenever we're talking about them the next day or later that week, there'll be some kind of activity just to remind us that they're still around. And that was when there started to be some activity in my pantry. So we have a motion sensor light in the pantry, and it was randomly turning on. In fact, I actually have a video of it randomly turning on. In fact, in one of my Sunday reset videos, the pantry light just turns on while I think I'm cleaning the refrigerator. And that happened for about a week. It happened every day, if not multiple times a day, to the point where I thought maybe it was malfunctioning. So my husband checked it out. It was fine. And then most recently, we have heard what sounds like somebody coming down the stairs while we're sitting on the couch watching TV. Sounds like somebody's in the kitchen while we're watching TV. And then, of course, over this last week, I have been telling Danny how I'm going to tell this story in a video. And so we've been talking a lot about them. And there has been a lot more activity again with the lights. And just tonight, I'm not even joking, just tonight, I was cleaning up the kitchen after dinner. I went into my hallway to get into the cleaning closet to go get our counter spray, and I heard a very gentle knock on the front door. It was about 4 knocks, but it was very obviously a knock on the front door. And I was so spooked by it because we do have a doorbell, and I did not hear our storm door open. And it's very loud. You can hear when that opens, but I did not hear it open, which meant it didn't open. How was somebody knocking on the door without opening that? That I had to go get Danny and have him open the door and just check because I was completely spooked. And there was nothing out there. And our motion sensor lights in the front of our house had not been triggered. So there wasn't, somebody knocking on the door or something walking around. It was just very spooky. I'm getting chills, reliving it. It just happened 20 minutes ago. So, definitely put me in the right mood when I came in here to do this voiceover. So if you are spooked out by stuff like this, I apologize, but that is my crazy family ghost story. We have had lots of conversations about, would we want to know who it is? Do we want to know their story? And truth be told, they're just part of the family at this point, and I'm too terrified of learning about something terrible about them, something horrible happening to them that I don't want to know. We just love them like they're our own. They don't mean any harm. We've never felt that they did, and it's fun stories to tell every year around this time. So hopefully you enjoyed our fun ghost story. Really quickly, just to kind of talk about what's up here on our porch. Those black cloths that you see there are from the Dollar Tree, and the witch hats are from Amazon, and they did come with the wire to hang them as well. So I'll have those linked for you down below. But this is going to be the last part of our decorating. No, it's not. I lied to you. We have one more thing that we're going to add, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that story. It's pretty crazy that Michaela is now going to be 16 in February, and we're still having all of this crazy activity. So who knows, maybe one day we'll have a medium come and, talk to us about, what is with us and who these spirits are. And maybe one day we'll, try to have them released from, earth, and why they're not in heaven or why they're not, on the other side. I don't know, but they definitely have attached themselves to us, and this is where we are. So the final thing we're adding here is this really adorable jack-o'-lantern, which is from Walmart, and we love it. We put it here in our flower bed. This was an empty spot in the flower bed, and we have both decided that we are not going to put anything here. This is where we will always have some kind of decorative item for the holidays. So I love this jack-o'-lantern. It's so cute and really affordable. It's only $18. So I'll try to find it and link it for you if I can. And this really is the last item that we're adding to the front yard. And I love how it all turned out. It's really, really sweet and exactly what I imagined when I purchased the different items. And I cannot wait for our Halloween party. You'll have to stay tuned to see what we do with the inside and all the fun goodies that we make. And can't wait to share all of that with you. And that, my friend, brings us to the end of this Halloween Decorate With Me. I hope you had fun watching us put these fun decorations on the outside of our house. I am obsessed with how this turned out. I'm ready for Halloween. I'm ready for our Halloween party, and my kids are loving it. My neighbors have given us great compliments, and it's just been a lot of fun. I am living for the holidays in our new home, creating all of these fun new memories with my kiddos, and just being able to enjoy all of these different new memories with them has been so much fun. And I can't believe in, a few short weeks, we're going to be hosting our very first holiday here in this home. Never hosted a holiday before, so we are so very excited. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to consider giving it a big thumbs up. And if you would like to come back for more, please make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button to be notified every time I post a new video. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And there's always something, for everybody. I do a little bit of everything: cooking, cleaning, planning, you name it, all things mom inspired. So until the next one, my friends, have a great day.